Okay, good morning guys, and again I'd like to welcome you to my channel. This is your Prof. Zeus, and for this afternoon, we'll be continuing our discussion about basic accounting. Okay, now what we have discussed so far is the accounting for a service business. Okay, so after service business, we also have what we call a trading or a merchandising business. Okay, trading or merchandising. So, if say for example, if in service business, so you render your service, you earn money from rendering your service. Here, you're actually earning from selling. Okay, so here is what is selling activity. Okay, so anong ginagawa nila? They buy an item or items, no, and then they sell it. Okay, they sell the items as they are. Okay, there's no conversion or no alteration done, conversion nor alteration done on the items. Okay, so there's no conversion or any alteration done on the items. Whatever they buy, they also sell. Now, what are examples of this one? Okay, National Bookstore, for instance, they buy the items and then they sell it to students. Okay, in its original form. There's no conversion or there's no conversion done in the process before they sell. Okay, so they buy it and then they sell it in its original form. Okay, what else? What else do you know? Okay, so I leave it up to you guys. But one example is that we are all aware of is National, or that we all know of is National Bookstore. Okay, so what's the difference between a trading and a merchandising? Essentially, all the transactions are the same. So, because in a service business you sell service, in this merchandising you sell goods. Okay, so both are actually selling. So all transactions are accounted for the same. Okay, except for what? Except for the items that you're selling, the merchandise. Except for the merchandise or the items that you are selling. Okay, in a merchandising business. Okay, so we'll focus more on the accounting for merchandise. Okay, now in terms of the income statement or the financial statements, no, okay, in terms of the income statement, in a service business we have service income less operating expenses. So you have your net income or net loss. Okay, now for a merchandising business, how will the income statement look like? So you have sales. So instead of service income, it's going to be sales. And then you have another line here, cost of sales. This is the cost of the items that you sold. And then you have the gross profit. And then you have the operating expenses, which can be further classified into selling and admin. Okay. There you have your net income or net loss. Okay, so essentially the difference really is more on this one. Okay, you have this cost of goods sold or cost of sales, and then you have the gross profit. Okay, in a service business, we don't have cost of sales or gross profit either. Okay, so that's the difference. Let's have an example. Now, in the computation of cost of sales, this is a bit tricky, but you have to understand how the process goes for you to be able to, find it easy to compute for the cost of goods sold. Okay, so the formula here is beginning inventory. Then we add the net cost of purchases. Okay, so net cost of purchases is equal to, net cost of purchases is equal to what? You have the purchases. Okay, then we deduct the purchase returns and allowances and purchase discount. Okay, so you have purchases less your purchase returns and allowances and then purchase discount. So this is your net purchases. Okay, now since this is cost, so we add the the freight, because freight is this is delivery of the items from the supplier to the seller. Okay, so this is necessary for you to take a hold or to have possession of the items. Okay, so this is now your net cost of purchases. So if you add that to the beginning inventory, all of these are the total goods available for sale. So you can sell all of this. Okay, this is the total amount of goods that you can actually sell. Now, two things can happen, okay, for your total goods available for sale. You can either sell it or it remains unsold. So the question is, okay, which one is easy to determine? The amount of goods that you have sold or the amount that is unsold? Siyempre, mas madaling ma-compute dyan would be the unsold, because all you have to do is what? To count the items, no? Count the items in the warehouse and then multiply that by the cost. Then you have the unsold. So therefore, from total goods available for sale, if we will deduct the ending inventory, okay, this is your cost of sales. Okay, yan. Now here, we made use of account purchases. Now there are two ways of accounting for merchandise. Okay, we have what we call the periodic and the perpetual. Okay, now periodic, this is sometimes called the physical inventory method. No, why? Because just like what we did here, no, for you to be able to determine the quantity and the amount of goods that you sold, you have to deduct the unsold. So ano gagawin natin? We count the items in the warehouse. That's why it's called physical inventory. Okay? So, in terms of applicability, now this periodic system or the physical inventory system is applicable for items that are voluminous, okay, but low in terms of low amount, no, in terms of the amount. Okay, now in the perpetual inventory system, now this is good for or applicable for high valued items. So yung mga mahal na items, no, high valued items and not too many volume. Okay, so it's applicable for high valued items and not too many volume. Okay, so what business or items can you think of in terms of applicability of the physical count? So say for example, the simple items like yung mga chiclet, yung mga ganon, no? So medyo maliit sila that you can no longer afford to count them. Okay, so I mean count them every time that you purchase, every time that you sell. Okay, so that would be an example of this one. Now this one would be like the buses. Okay, you can easily count, you can easily determine how many buses you have left, right? Okay, so therefore items of applicability, ito yung mga mura at medyo marami, ito yung mga mahal na presyohin, no, at medyo konti yung kanyang volume. Okay, and because of that, okay, for the periodic inventory system, we do not maintain a stock card or yung inventory monitoring. Sa perpetual, meron tayong stock card na tinatawag. Okay? So the stock card will what? Will monitor the quantities of the items. Okay? Yung mga pumapasok, mga lumalabas on a per item basis, monitor through what we call the stock card. Okay? Bakit kinakailangan sa perpetual yun? Remember, these are high valued items. So you have to really monitor how many items left in the warehouse and how many have been sold, right? Yan. Kaya ito, quantities talaga siya. Now, dito sa periodic or physical, there's no more stock card. We don't use stock card anymore. Okay, because what? Because the items are too little in terms of physically and of course in terms of value. Parang it's a waste of time. Okay? Now, in terms of number 3 naman, no? Now since there's really no way of monitoring the number of quantities or the quantities that's left, okay? What we do is we conduct what? we conduct physical inventory. Okay. For us to determine, no, to determine the ending inventory. Now sa perpetual, ano gagawin natin? Meron tayong stock card, but of course, kailangan din nating malaman, no, with physical inventory, kailangan din natin kasing malaman kung tama pa yun nasa stock card natin. Say for example, the stock card revealed that there's 10 units of buses still available. Pero pagdating sa floor, nakita mo 4 na lang or 5 na lang, okay? So you still do the physical count in order for you to verify. This is to really verify the items really on hand, okay? Now, then here, all purchases, we make use of the account purchases. Now here, we make use of merchandise inventory or simply inventory. Yan. So yan ang gamit nating account. So whenever we purchase, dito sa ating physical or periodic, we make use of purchases. Dito naman ay merchandise inventory. Okay? Now whenever we sell, okay. So whenever we sell, dito, isang entry na gagawin natin. Yun lang yung debit to AR and credit to sales. Now dito, whenever there's sale, you need to prepare 2 entries. One is the same here, debit AR, credit sales. And then the other one is to recognize the cost of sales, credit inventory. Yan. So dalawang entrada ang ginagawa mo. Pag ang iyong inventory system is perpetual, sa periodic isa lang, debit AR and credit your sales. Okay? So yan ang pagkakaiba, no, ng periodic at physical, periodic and perpetual inventory system, no? Yun. Isa pang pagkakaiba ng trading at merchandising, sa balance sheet makikita natin, ano yun? Yung ating inventory. Sa service business, wala kang makikitang inventory items, right? Because you are rendering services. Pero pagdating sa merchandising business, among the current assets, no, meron kang tinatawag na inventory. Okay? Ito yung items na pwede mo pang maibenta sa mga susunod na panahon. Okay? So, yun. Ito ngayon yung ating pagkakaiba ng physical and or periodic and perpetual inventory system. Okay? Now, let's have an example. Okay? On the preparation of the income statement for merchandise inventory. Okay? So, let us say na company has sales. Okay. So ganyan muna, no? So we have here the data collected from a company. Okay? So we're going to prepare the income statement. Okay? So dito tayo gagawa. Okay? Sabihin natin na lang ito ay si AGA Merchandising. Okay? So we have income statement. For the year ended. So means for 1 year. December 31, say 2019. Okay? So we have the sales. Magkano yung sales natin? 1 million. From the sales, we deduct the sales returns and allowances. Magkano yun? 50,000. So less 50. And then we have the sales discount. Magkano? 20. So therefore, the net sales is how much? So this is 930,000. Tama ba? 930,000. Okay. And then from the net sales, we deduct the cost of sales. So you have the beginning inventory. How much is the beginning inventory? 200,000. Then we add the net cost of purchases, which is equal to, you have the purchases. Purchases is 900,000. Then you have less your purchase returns and allowances, 50,000. And then purchase discount. Sorry. Let's make this discount. 20,000. Okay, so therefore, how much is the net purchases natin? So this is 830,000. Then we add the freight. The freight is how much? Freight in 30,000. So therefore, the total goods, the total cost of the purchases, no? This is 860,000. This is the net cost of purchases, the 860. Okay? So, add mo yan sa beginning inventory. You have total goods available for sale. So, magkano yan? 860 plus 200. So, that's 1,060,000. Right? 1,060,000. And then, dalawa lang pwede mangyari, nabenta o hindi. So, tignan natin yung ending inventory. So, you have 100,000. So, magkano yan? Ay, magkano yan? That's gonna be 1,060,000, no? Less 100,000. 960. Dagdagan na lang natin itong ending inventory natin, no? Masyadong maliit eh. 400,000. Dagdagan na lang natin. So, 1,060,000 less 400,000. So, that's 660. So, the cost of goods sold is 660,000. So, deduct natin siya from the sales. So, less 930. 930 minus 660. This is 270,000. And this is what? Your gross profit. Okay? And then we deduct the operating expenses. Huwag nating split yung selling saka ano, no? Hindi naman split yun. Salaries, 240,000. Rent, 360,000. Utilities, 12,000. Office supplies, is 10,000. And then telephone is 12. So therefore, magkano yung total operating expenses natin ha? Ang balita ko 634,000 daw yung expenses. Yan, 634. And so therefore, mas malaki expenses mo sa gross income, then you have a net loss. Magkano? 364,000. So naka-net loss ka, no? So you have net loss. Okay, so ganito yung itsura ng financials, ng income statement, no, ng isang merchandising business, okay? So medyo nakakalito siya, especially from the especially dito sa ating cost of goods sold or cost of sales, no? But again, you just have to understand the reason and the kwento or the story behind each item in the statement of income. Okay? Again, say for example, no, this is your second year, so meron ka natira last year, that will be your beginning balance of inventory. Yung mga naiwan mo ngayong naiwan mo from last year, ano gagawin mo? Syempre, you have to buy new stocks, di ba? Para dire-diretso pagbenta mo. Ito ngayon yung purchases mo ngayon. Now, yung purchases, meron kang mga binili, meron kang mga sinole, merong discount, kaya dineduct natin yun, di ba? And then, syempre, minsan ikaw nagpapadala, ikaw ang gumagastos ng transportation papunta sa office mo, then that will be freight in. So, yung tatlo, yun yung component ng cost ng new purchases natin, okay? So, yung beginning inventory natin, which is yung tira from last year, and then yung ating binili ngayon, lahat ng yun pwedeng ibenta. Kaya cost of goods sold. Now, again, ano mas madaling ma-determine? Yung binenta mo o yung natira sa'yo? Siyempre, natira, all you have to do is what? To count. So, kinount mo, eto na siya. Okay? Ganon klase ang kwento na dapat yung tignan, no? Para hindi kayo mawala pagdating sa formula ng cost of goods sold. Okay? So, next meeting, guys, we'll discuss about the entries involved. Okay? Accounting for the inventory, no? Kasi yun lang naman ang pagkakaiba ng merchandising at ng trading, merchandising and the service business. Okay? Thank you very much, and again, I hope you learned something today, no? Sana nakatulong yung video na to sa inyo sa pagpapalawig ng inyong kaalaman sa accountancy or accountansya, no? Thank you very much, and again, see you again in my next session. Bye, guys.